Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Coltrane Conservatory of the Arts talk show. We're glad that you tuned in with us on today, and we hope that you're going to stick around to enjoy some of the things that we have. The Coltrane Conservatory of the Arts is located at 6353 South Cottage Grove, and we are a music school that has a component of a math and English tutoring school. So those of you who are interested in playing an instrument, if you have children or grandchildren that you'd like to get involved, we encourage you to give us a call. You may call us here by the phone number you see on your TV screen, or you may call us at 773-891-1874. Now, we want to start off today by just familiarizing you with a few things. We do have a website. We are online. Our website address is www.coltraneconservatoryeducation.org. That's going to be www.coltraneconservatoryeducation.org. And you can get a lot more information from us when you go to that. We want you to recognize it when you see it. You see it there online, on the screen rather. And we would be so happy to have you at our school. See that big beautiful piano there? Well, when you come into our place, you're going to be on one playing one yourself. And we're going to teach you how to really play. I mean, when you leave out of there, you're going to know how to play. You stick around for a few months, I guarantee you'll be playing the piano. Now, I want to just say to you that we're going to be talking about a few things today that we feel that are very important. In this show, we always talk about the arts, especially those that we are involved with. And by the way, some of you out there, if you are poets or maybe you are visual artists and you know how to paint and draw and that type of thing, we do have some programs for you. If you give us a call, we will explain that to you also. Again, our number is 773-891-1875. Now, we do get involved with social issues. Oh yeah, we talk about those things that are going on in our community beside the arts, because we want people to be aware of where we are on these subjects and whatnot. We want them also to just to be aware, period. You know, not everybody reads the newspaper nor listens to the evening news, at this particular point in our life here in this country. Now, I want to start off by talking to you. I'm going to let you see something that you can see some of our students. These are some of our students over at the conservatory. I want you to see these so that you can get an idea about some of the things that we're doing. And you can see those pictures there. Those are our students, and these students, they are just absolutely learning so much. Some of them are adult students. They come back to us. They come back after many years of being out of music. Some of them have never played music, and they just want to get involved with music. And you can see that bottom picture. This shows some of our students in recital, and you see the one trumpet player there. That's an adult student. And you see the little fellow there on the drums. That's naturally one of our boys. So if you have children, you have grandchildren, if you have great-grandchildren, you want to come back and be part of the Coltrane Conservatory of the Arts training program there at the school, hey, do it. That's what we're there for. And we will tell you also that there are other programs there. We have a math and English tutoring program on Saturday from 10:30 until I take that back, from 12:30 to 1:30, and we have our free drumming program from 10:30 to 12 o'clock. So you want to get involved with free programs of that type, you give us a call and we will get you registered and enrolled. Now, on last week we had some things happening around in this country that could not have made any of us happy, especially those of us who, most of us who are on the south side of Chicago and the west side of Chicago. Because two young African American men were shot down in cold-blooded murder by police officers. Now, all of this was caught on camera, so it's not like we're making something up here. Terrence Crutcher from the city of Tulsa and the state of Oklahoma was gunned down after his vehicle stopped on the street, and he was trying to get it back going, and the police showed up, and nobody knows the details, but this man was shot down in cold-blooded murder. And I've said it on the air, and I'll say it again. Until this stuff stops, I'm going to be talking about it as much as I can on the air and letting our opinions be known. How do we feel? Do we feel it's okay for a police officer to gun down a man who presented no threat whatsoever to him? The answer to that is absolutely no. And everybody needs to be upset about it because it's something to be upset about it. Human life is the most precious life on this planet, you see? And when we snuff out a person's life in that manner, we are just about canceling out any respect for the dignity of life. You know, as though this man was nothing but a fly or something of that nature, that someone would just take his life away, as precious as life is. He's left with children, you know, and this is just absolutely something that we cannot tolerate. And until such time that things get better in this country, because we have, you know, they talk about the pledge of allegiance that we make to the flag. You know, most of us during our school days, we used to say we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, so forth and so on. And toward that it says liberty and justice for everyone. And let me tell you, I don't see it. And anybody who says that they do see it, that's a person who is totally and completely blind. And until such time that there is liberty and justice for all the people, and I don't mean just for African Americans, for all the people, because I would be just as concerned about this if it were Hispanics, if it were Asian Americans, if it were white Americans. There is no place in our society for murderers. I don't care if they are police officers. There is no place for murderers in a sane society. And that's where we are today. Now, the other young man who was gunned down, well, before I get into that, there was a young man gunned down 2 years ago in Charlotte. And this young man was gunned down after his car was stranded, and he went looking for help, and he came across this house. I guess he was out in some area that was very, very sparse, and he couldn't find a filling station or anything of that type. And he knocked on this woman's house. This was a white woman, and she answered. Instead of her answering the door, she called the police. And she said she thought that he was about to break in her home or something of that type. Well, when the police showed up, he began shooting and killed this young 24-year-old African American who only was trying to get somebody to make a phone call so he could get help to get his car back going. Now, the police officer in that case, from what I understand, went to trial. He was charged and went to trial. But it was a hung jury, and therefore the case was dismissed because the prosecutors didn't think they had enough evidence to bring it back and that a jury would find him guilty. I don't know how that could be. If I knock on somebody's door asking for help and the police shows up and starts shooting me, I just don't know how you could get out of that. I mean, it just doesn't seem to me to be any way legally that you could defend yourself after doing something like that to another human being. So that happened. And then this young man, Keith Scott, who was shot and killed in North Carolina a few days ago. This young man's wife was pleading with the police, "Don't shoot him, please." And they shot him anyway. That's cold-blooded murder. And it's lower than any real human being could stoop. You would have to be so animalistic until you need to be in the jungle somewhere in order to have done that to this man. I don't know what's going on, people, but this country has gotten away from any of the values and morals that they used to have. These police officers are operating as a kind of a neo Ku Klux Klan. And to add to that, they wear badges and are sworn to uphold the law, and therefore they are getting away with it. The police chiefs are failing to release important videos showing what actually happened. So they themselves are just as guilty. And I don't care if they're black police officers, black police chiefs or not. Because we know we need to clean up these police departments. And you know, somebody once said that African Americans represent the conscience. I believe Donald Trump said that. And maybe some of you out there listening who will, accept this statement if you don't like, what I'm saying. And I can imagine there may be some people out there who have different opinions. If you do, give us a call here at the station. We'll be more than happy to put you on the air. But I can say this much, and also, please, those of you who are interested in music or our tutoring program, you see the number there on the screen. Also, you can call us at 773-891-1875, and we'd be more than happy to get back to you. If you get a voicemail, just leave your information and we'll get back to you. Now, Donald Trump said that African Americans represent the conscience of this country. And I really believe he's right, because we are generally on the right side of everything. When this nation decides that it's time for us to go to war in the Middle East and shoot up a lot of people and bomb them and tear up their country, I don't see any African Americans running around saying, "Oh, let's go after them." In most cases, at the very least, we are neutral in all of this stuff. And many of us are against it, but at the very least, we're neutral against it. And so, when you have been the blunt of so much injustice, okay, when you've been on the receiving end of so much injustice, you get to where you really, really don't like it, no matter where it's, who it's being done on, you know. And I think some of you who may be listening, and you weren't born as an African American, or you were born as part of the majority population, you really don't understand where I'm coming from, because you've never been in these shoes. When you've been in these shoes, and you've seen so much injustice, you know, and you see your people fighting hard, like our people have fought in this country, just to be able to walk down the streets of this country in dignity and respect without somebody bothering you in some way, whether or not it's a police officer or some racist individual who doesn't like it because you're walking in some all-white neighborhood or something of that type. When you've been on the receiving end of that kind of stuff, you grow very much a passion for justice and a dislike and indeed hatred for injustice. So that's where we are. That's why I'm saying that, and not all of us are walking in the same shoes, you know. Many of us are doing things and this, that, and the other. But wrong is wrong. And I think everybody should be standing up for right. When I look at a lot of these pulpits on Sunday, and I see so many, preachers and the like, and they're preaching about all of these different things and whatnot, you never hear anybody talking about racism and injustice. You know, they're always talking about the blood of Jesus. Just fall in love with the blood of Jesus and everything is going to be all right in your life. Well, the last I checked, Jesus himself fought against injustice. In fact, that's the real reason that they killed him, because he was fighting against the wrongs of society, calling for justice and fairness. And they didn't like that, and they showed him by executing him in the most horrible way that a human being could be put to death, on a cross, sticking spikes through his flesh, a very slow and painful, suffering death. That's what they did to him. And these people that are murdering people today, shooting them multiple times in the back, in the head, after stopping them for traffic tickets, or tail light that's missing, or somebody knocking on somebody's door trying to get them to make a phone call for them after being stranded, or someone working on their car trying to get it back going. These people who are shooting people like that are no better than those people that hung this man Jesus on that cross. They are inhuman. They have no respect for the dignity of life. And if this country would be better off if all those people were exiled somewhere, just sent out of this country, because they're the ones who make this country far less than what it could really be. Haters, I mean people who are bent on wrong and evil and sin. And this is not good. And that's what we stand for over at the Coltrane Conservatory of the Arts. So now that you all know where we stand, and trust me when I tell you, we have posters and whatnot displayed on our windows that say Black Lives Matter, you know, murder is murder, you know, justice, no matter who it is, police, who, whatever, murder is murder, you need to be brought to justice. So we're not just talking here, we talk over at our facility also. Now you see a sign right behind me. It says, winter always turns to spring. Now what I want to say to you is that first of all, in defining that statement essentially means that no matter how bad things may be, no matter what the situation may be, those rough times, if we persevere and don't weaken or faint, those rough times will be converted into springtime, into wonderful times. That's our motto there for CC Arts, which is Coltrane Conservatory of the Arts. Winter always turns to spring. So whatever's going on in your life today, we want to make certain that you understand that if you persevere, if you don't give up, if you keep a good solid plan of action going, keep your mind free of hatred and bitterness, and just keep working hard, things will always turn out good for you. And I always remember something. I read something in Colin Powers, General Colin Powers. You all know him, good man. I love that man. In the military, just like myself, got a bunch of medals. I have medals myself. He went on and became a big general and stayed in there for 40 years. I got out after about 3 years and went on into something else. But the bottom line, though, is he said that situations are never as worse as we feel that they are. I mean, we need to look at every problem like that. The situation is not nearly as bleak as it looks like it is. And that puts us in the right frame of mind in order to solve it, to find a solution. Now, having said that, I want to make certain that we get back to the music training that we're doing over at the school. Remember that I want people to understand that we do have fee-based programs, but they are very minimally fee-based programs. Many of our programs are free. And you're probably going to get a better situation there than you will anywhere in Chicago, and you will learn how to play that instrument that you want to learn how to play. Now, this is our last program for the season. We've been on here for 12 months, and of course we were on for not 12 months, but 3 months. We were on 3 months before, and we won't be back until January. So we want you all to make sure that you mark your calendars so that you'll know that we will be back in January, alrighty? But we will be off. This is our last program for this season, and we hope that we'll see some of you over at the school. We hope that you've enjoyed our programs as we've come across, bringing you some things having to do with a lot of things having to do with the arts, as well as talking to you about some of the social issues in our community that need to be addressed, And so we look forward to seeing you on next time. We got about a minute left. If somebody wants to call, if someone wants to call, if you want to go to our website there, again, the website is www.coltraneconservatoryeducation.org. We'll be more than, and you can kind of get a chance to see what we're doing online. Okay, you can read up on some of our programs and whatnot. And then, of course, again, you see some of our students here who have been with us for a while. Most of these students have, that little boy you see on the drums there has been with us going on 3 years. And if we weren't doing something real right, you guarantee that his mother would have gotten him out there a long time ago. So, and we have lots of students like that who've been around for 2 years, 3 years, and this type of thing. And remember that we've only been established for 3 years, So it's not like we've been around a whole long time. And to have somebody with you since the very day that you started, that's a wonderful thing. So ladies and gentlemen, until January, until next season, we want you to be at peace, and we want you to prosper, and remember that winter always turns to spring. We'll see you next time. This is Joe Pace III, signing off until next January.